For the last 5 years, we have all been living with the wobble. You know what I'm talking about. You put your phone down and it rocks on that camera bar. Well, with the brand new Google Pixel 10a, the wobble is officially dead. This phone is perfectly flat. So let's dive into how they pulled it off. And hey, before we do, if you like sharp tech reviews, make sure you're subscribed. You see, getting that flat back is a massive design shift for Google. But doing it, especially on a budget phone, that seems almost impossible without some serious compromise. Usually, a smaller camera bump means a smaller, well, worse camera. So did Google sacrifice the legendary pixel camera quality just to kill the wobble? Or was the trade-off something else entirely? Okay, so let's start right there with this huge shift in design. Google has basically declared the end of the camera bar era. And honestly, it's a much bigger deal than you might think. I mean, this slide pretty much tells the whole story, right? On the left, you've got the old, wobbly Pixel we've all come to know, and on the right, the sleek, new, totally flat Pixel 10a. It is such a simple, elegant solution to a problem we all just kind of accepted. And here it is. This is genuinely one of the cleanest looking phones we've seen in years. It somehow feels more premium in your hand than phones that cost twice as much. Plus, it comes in these awesome new colors. Lavender and berry really pop, along with the classic fog and obsidian. But you know, it's not just the design that feels premium. This phone is packed with stuff you'd expect on a flagship, which just makes that mystery of what got cut even more interesting. And it all starts right here, $499. Seriously. In a world where top-tier phones are easily over $1,000, Google is dropping this incredibly refined piece of hardware for under $500. This price is our first big clue that something's up. Okay, so what about the screen? Nope, no compromise here. It's a gorgeous 6.3-inch display that's 11% brighter than last year's. That might not sound huge, but it's the difference between squinting in the sun and actually being able to see your screen. It feels great. And under the hood, it's running the Tensor G4 chip. Now, for the tech heads out there, yes, that's last year's flagship processor. But putting that kind of power in a budget phone is a game changer for performance, especially for all of Google's AI magic. So the processor wasn't the sacrifice either. Which brings us to our prime suspect, the cameras. This has to be it, right? To get that perfectly flat back, did Google have to compromise the one thing that made the Pixel famous in the first place? Well, Google is not being quiet about this. They are flat out claiming this is the best camera you can get on a phone under $500. That is a really bold statement. Let's see if the tech backs it up. So hardware-wise, the specs are solid. You get a 48-megapixel main sensor and a 13-megapixel ultra-wide. Those are respectable numbers for sure. But as any Pixel fan knows, the real story isn't just about megapixels. It's about the software. And here is that software magic in action. Auto Best Take is a lifesaver for group photos. You know how it goes. Someone's always blinking. With this, you just tap the shutter once, and the AI works like a little Photoshop editor in your pocket, merging all the best faces from a burst of shots into one perfect picture. And then there's Camera Coach. This is genuinely cool if you actually want to take better pictures. It gives you real-time tips on lighting and framing right there in the viewfinder. It's basically a photo tutor helping you get a great shot instead of just a blurry mess. So the camera is definitely not a sacrifice. Case closed, right? Well, not exactly. The plot thickens, because instead of cutting features, Google actually added something huge and totally unexpected for a phone at this price. For the first time ever, Google is bringing a true flagship safety feature to its budget A-series phone. And this isn't a gimmick. This is something that could literally save your life. It's called Satellite SOS. It means if you're ever out hiking or stranded somewhere with no Wi-Fi and no cell signal, this phone can still connect you to emergency services. That kind of peace of mind is something you just don't find at this price point. Okay, let's run through the evidence one more time. We have a premium flat design, a great screen, a flagship chip, an amazing AI camera, and a life-saving safety feature, all for $499. So what did they actually give up to make this happen? And here it is. The trade-off was never the camera. It was magnetic charging. The flagship Pixel 10 series has it, but the Pixel 10a, with its perfectly flat back, does not. So there's our answer. They killed the wobble, but in the process, they had to kill PixelSnap, Google's magnetic wireless charging system. It means you can't snap on those magnetic chargers, wallets, or car mounts. You still get fast wired charging, of course, but that snap convenience is the price of flatness. So where does this leave us? What does this phone, with all its strengths and this one very specific sacrifice, mean for the budget phone market as a whole? Well, when you put it head-to-head with its biggest rival, the rumored iPhone 17e, the Pixel's value just becomes so clear. It's $100 cheaper, it has that killer Satellite SOS feature, and it comes with 7 years of software updates. That is an absolutely incredible package. So look, here's the final takeaway. The list of pros is huge. That beautiful flat design, great performance, a brilliant camera, a life-saving feature, and years of support. And there's really just one major con: no magnetic charging. Google made a very clear choice. They bet that for most people, a phone that feels perfect and doesn't wobble is more important than one that snaps to a charger. So the question you have to ask yourself is this: Is the perfect feel in your hand worth giving up the perfect snap on your charger? Because your answer might just tell us where the whole phone market is headed next.